Right, so this coming weekend sees the Dublin Racing Festival kick off with a great 2 day meeting. Absolutely one of the best throughout the season. We've also got some supporting cards, some really good supporting cards from Sandown, maybe a little bit from Musselburgh, some trial races there as well. Maybe we might touch on one or two there as well. But I'm delighted to say we're joined today by Alex Cuthbert, who's Welsh international, former British and Irish Lion. Obviously had a very good career as a professional rugby player, but he's also a very avid fan of horse racing, not just a fan, an owner, heavily involved, and delighted to have him with us today. Hi, Alex. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to come on finally. Can't believe
Yeah.
you asked me. It's taking too long.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Well, he's lying because if you'd have seen we've done some podcast stuff before, and yeah, we've spoken a bit today. Let's just say. Right, okay, guys, let's kick straight off into it because we want to try and keep it nice and simple for everybody. The Nathaniel Lacey Solicitors Novice Hurdle, really interesting race. Willie Mullins as the favourites, no shock there. Alex, from your point of view, are you with the Mullins favourite, or do you like something else?
Um, I do like it, considering I think the way it won by 15 lengths. The second actually won out in air, and then the
Yeah,
third actually also won at Punchestown.
yeah,
So that form isn't looking too bad, is it? And to win
not
by
at all.
15 lengths, I think it must be a pretty good thing.
Mm.
I thought Super Sunday second to Yellow Clay, which is a horse I quite like.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
that'd be thereabouts. And then you got obviously Jasmine DeVoe, obviously the bumper win at Cheltenham,
Yeah,
which I quite like. I just don't think it ran its true race last time. Like
mm.
its favourite as well, which is
Got to
odd. And
brush
then
up on his jumping, hasn't it?
yeah, definitely. And obviously JJ Slevin's riding it, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure with the new ownership in terms of he's a retained rider whether Paul will
Mm.
actually have first
Yeah.
dibs on that. Obviously
Mm.
it being a Willie Mullins horse.
Yeah.
Um, a little bit one outside. I thought Sound Victorious. That came
Okay.
fourth. That came fourth in the Cheltenham bumper.
Okay.
To I thought it's just not probably showing. It obviously won last time, and it beat Yellow Clay, which was sixth in that bumper as well. So maybe a bit of an each way shot there, but it's probably going to be tough, isn't it? If Willie Mullins gets off to a start like that, Final Demand win,
Yeah.
you could see a lot of his horses throughout the day. Then probably shortening up for me
Yeah,
as
I
well.
think I think you're right. Yeah, it looks a race that Willie could well win with one of his. I do think that Final Demand looks the one to be with, to be honest, given the form and what have you. But you're right to say is like the fourth from the champion bumper. Jasmine DeVoe was the winner, and there's not bad horses here. It's just some of them might not have achieved what they might have been expected to at this stage. Is that how you sort of see it as well?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, I guess we're not early in the season, but we haven't seen a lot of. I guess Willie now over the next day or two will probably bring out a lot, won't he? What ones we
Yeah,
haven't seen properly, and I think there'll be a few shock results in terms of same Willie Mullins got 4 or 5 in it. He probably doesn't really know which one's going to win. You may see the money for certain ones, but what's it now?
yeah,
Final Demand 7-4. But
yeah.
if that was real bang on, would it be shorter? I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it?
I,
But there's value elsewhere, I think.
Yeah, maybe there is the value. I'll stick with Final Demand myself. I do think that the form in the book also, given that the Yellow Clay isn't in here when he was originally entered up, who
Yeah,
I thought would have been a really good play for the race. I think the vibes are good. I know the Drew family, but I know they really like this horse, and they're not backwards about coming forwards when they like one of theirs themselves. I had one of the lads on a preview a couple of years ago. He's a good talker, knows the game and stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm going to stick with Final Demand. Yourself, even the
yeah.
only one.
I might give Jasmine DeVoe another shot for me.
Cool.
I just think maybe a flatter track. If it jumps better, 8-1. I feel like it's a bit of a steal if it wins at 8-1. I'll be fuming not to maybe back it. So
Yeah. In the
yeah,
in that double green coming up the home
maybe a
straight.
four. Yeah, maybe a
Lovely stuff.
forecast or something like that.
Yeah. Willie Mullins 1, 2, 3 maybe by the sounds of that could be.
Good for you.
No shocks there. Right, okay, let's kick on. Next race is the 150. It really does normally produce a nice juvenile, this particular race. I had a good look through over the last couple of days. I don't think it's as strong as it might have been in previous years. We don't quite know what Hello Neighbour and Lady Vega Allen have achieved in their previous run coming out of that mist, pulling clear. But for a neck loss, Lady Vega Allen is a significantly bigger price. But Hello Neighbour, the vibes are all really positive, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's obviously 2-1 in the market.
Yeah.
Which Lady Vega, well, obviously lost by what, half a neck, wasn't it? A neck or something?
It wasn't far, mate. Yeah, it wasn't far at all.
So they obviously think quite highly of it. For me, in this race, I'm all over St. Lucy. I am.
Cool.
I think I got a bit better price. I think I had fours at point
Yeah.
at one point. It's 9-4 now. Said to be only half fit when absolutely powering away on debut. Its jumping is good.
It was seriously impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm all over that one on this one. I'll be honest,
Okay.
but Hello Neighbour, you just don't know. I think it's going to be obviously Lady Vega. That could come on leaps and bounds. So 4-1 might be actually not a bad price as well. So
yeah,
but I'm going to back myself and go with St. Lucie on this one. I think for
good
the
man.
Richie.
Yeah, and nice little price that you got yourself there. And I think it wouldn't surprise me actually looking at it if any of those top four won the race. To be honest, and I think given that we don't really know what happened in that race because the mist and the
Yeah.
fog that day, like you probably the safe bet is to go with the Mullins horse who could start the day with the first two winners anyway. So.
Yeah, and obviously we'll talk about another horse later on running at Musselburgh, which actually ran against this, which I think's got a very good chance there as well, which is not a bad price still. So, yeah, we'll find out obviously a lot more this weekend. But for me, St. Lucie.
Cool. Good man. Right, so as we move on through the card at Leopardstown, the 25 past 2 is a handicap hurdle race. Look, there's the horse that's been very well punted. Those that are in the know are already on by the looks of it because it's a JP McManus horse. Willie Mullins trained. Rachel Blackmore on, which we believe might be down to the weight because it's running off 10 stone 2, but in an incredible sort of sight looking at the card. This horse is a 149 rated chaser who runs here off 112 over hurdles, and I can't think of a bigger disparity between a horse that I've seen in. I just can't think of what I've seen in ages. That's massive, and you can see why they backed it.
Well, yeah, that's huge, really. Only it's not. It surely cannot be 20. What? How many pounds? At £27 difference or something? Is it 20?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah,
like that's mad, isn't it? And obviously the money's coming for it. It's carrying no weight. Like anything like that, usually there was a few of those sort of horses running around Christmas time, and they came in. I think it was Win Some, You Lose Some. That was another one that got pretty well backed. Which leads me on to maybe a bit of an outsider. I think that will run well above its odds. There's a horse called What's Available.
Okay.
For Morris, Dara Keith riding it came second to You Win Some, You Lose Some.
Okay.
Only by literally half a length, I think, and only up £4 for that. So I think still around 25s. It might be a bit shorter now, but that would be maybe another each way, especially these handicaps. You just, they're just so tough, aren't they, in Ireland as well? So,
they are.
If you're looking for a bit of value there, especially 7-4, we are saying we know it's thrown in, and numbers say it should win, shouldn't it? But when has it ever been that simple in horse racing? So,
if only.
That would be my little outsider in that race.
I think I know we've spoken already today, but after we did have that chat, I kind of found myself looking at it and thinking, how much would I fancy this horse in this race if it was like 5 or 6 to 1, and I would be all over it.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've missed the price, I know what you're saying. You kind of see if there's anything worth bigger value. I just got to give a shout for Percival Laguerre of Gavin Cromwell's, who is equally, according to his ratings, he's 142 rated chaser, running off 135 over hurdles, which you would normally think, wow, that looks pretty well in as well. But he's not as well in as the other JP McManus horse. And yeah, I think if what price might this be if Mullins has the first two winners? I mean, I can imagine it being odds on.
Oh, 100%. And like, I actually, I think it's not a bad shout with that personal Lego because Mark Walsh is riding it. So obviously,
Mm,
obviously he'd be the most retained rider, wouldn't he? But
mm.
like you said, if Willie Mullins does win the first two, this thing is going to be smashed in, isn't it? So,
Winning,
but other than that, I can't really these sort of races because I'm lucky. I'll be at the track. It's one of them
yeah,
where you can see what's really getting backed, and
yeah,
people will then pile on. So it's obviously a benefit to be at the track, isn't it? So,
yeah.
but
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
will be another good handicap. I know, especially with the JP horse being backed. I'm sure he'll be there as well watching it.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, yeah, 100%. Okay, we'll kick on to the Irish Arkle, where Madgeborough, I suppose at this moment in time, if I can be a neutral for a second, forget the betting side of things. I really want Madgeborough to really put a big solid performance in tomorrow because in March to see Madgeborough versus Sergino in the Arkle like gets the juices flowing, doesn't it? And I think he can do it tomorrow. Do you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm all over Madgeborough. I got a very nice price on Madgeborough winning that, but obviously then that was way before I watched Sergino just absolutely hose up. So I'm a little bit worried on that front. But Madgeborough, the whole, I loved it. It was my biggest bet last year at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
I think it's a proper horse. Think about it. It's still only a 5-year-old, and they've gone straight chasing it. Just showed huge horse. Spoke about highly by Willie Mullins, engine and a half. Obviously, pace wise, whether it's got quite the gears that Sergino's got, I'm not sure. But on the weekend, I would be gutted if this lost.
Yeah.
So I'm all over this. There are a
Okay.
couple of others you've got
Yeah.
to look at. That Janot Lepan 150 to 1 winner, and
Yeah.
they all fancied it apparently. So
Yeah.
what a day that would
Thanks for
be,
that
huh?
info.
Huh? Bloody hell, imagine getting that. But they obviously fancied that massive horse, probably the biggest horse on the card, isn't it?
Yeah.
18 two hands.
Yeah. He's monster.
Um,
Another monster of a thing.
Il Atalantique, I
Yeah.
think, probably got the best form and the more
Okay.
experience. Running an Irish champ hurdle, but just came down Mystical Power, Slade
Hmm.
Steel, King of Kingsfield. Whether that form is actually that good, if you look at obviously
Yeah.
look at the Supreme winner from last year and some in behind, it's not probably the best form, is it? Looking at it
No.
now,
No.
so that could be there. Touch Me Not obviously ran on really well behind the Skeltons.
Yeah.
Uda Sud, is it?
Yeah. That's it. Loaded Sud. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which they
That's
quite fancy, and that ran on really well, and that's a tough place to run on well at Sandown.
mm.
So, yes, it's going to be a tough race, but I'll be gutted if Madgeborough doesn't win.
Yeah, I agree. And then you're right to point about Touch Me Not. I think there's a lot of people who like Load of Sud as like the each way play in the Arkle. And I guess there'll be a lot of people watching Touch Me Not to see sort of how close this gets to Madgeborough. Probably give them a guide, maybe as to sort of what they might hold from an anti-post point of view coming to the festival itself. So yeah, I'm with you. Madgeborough looks a good, right, proper horse, and can't wait to see it. Right, the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Look, this is intriguing from so many points of view. It's Galopin Des Champs' backyard, and I really think that no matter probably which way they ride Factor File tomorrow, he'll probably be the bridesmaid. But I do think Factor File has a better chance at Cheltenham as long as he runs a good race tomorrow and shows that he can get within a few lengths of Galopin Des Champs. What's your sort of view on the race and how you see it panning out?
I don't think Paul Townend will get as easy a ride in front as he did last time.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Shouldn't do.
Factor File, yeah, I wouldn't have thought so, because he just went out in front, jumped unbelievably, was taking lengths out of everyone behind. Factor File was too keen, didn't jump that well. I think they're putting a bit something on him, aren't they, just to try and maybe
Yeah, Yeah,
and ride him a little bit differently. That'd be interesting. They could just run each other into the ground, but Galopin Des Champs just stays, don't you, all day. So that'd be interesting. I think I'd be so surprised if he doesn't win Gallopin, but I do think Factor File will be closer.
yeah,
Do you know what
yeah,
I mean?
definitely.
Other each way one, I think Monty Star is pretty
Yeah,
unexposed.
yeah, good
I
horse.
reckon they're aiming for the Gold Cup. He's a bit fresher, and I think he come on a lot from his last run. So it's not a massive gap, is it, from his
No,
last run galloping?
no, no.
So he's obviously ran around December, running again, and then obviously the Gold Cup. So I can see you're thinking behind Factor Fire might be a little bit better round Cheltenham, but just Gallopin just doesn't really make too many mistakes. Does he jump in and
no.
at this level, if you can do that, you're going to be pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, it's top level sport in any shape or form. If you minimise the mistakes, you're always going to be in the best position possible. And Galopin, like you say, doesn't make that many mistakes. So Factor File will not be able to do what he done last time. Otherwise, he just won't get near him again. So I think Embassy Gardens is another one to talk. Very, very interesting. Probably a dark horse each way to pick up places in the Gold Cup. Maybe he's Cheltenham Festival winner, albeit it was in a or runner-up, sorry, to Corbett's Cross at Cheltenham last year. Run pretty well and has won that race that Album Photo used to be targeted at Tremor. Probably, if the ground is soft enough, might go pretty well. I don't know, but I think it's between the front two, Galopin Des Champs, Factor File, and I can't wait to see it personally.
Yes, I'm buzzing to be there.
All right.
It's gonna be good. I'll be twice. I've watched him now, so
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I've watched him loads at Cheltenham as well. To be honest, he's won me a lot of money. So I give him
He's very much returned a good ROI, if you like, hasn't he, for over the
yeah,
years? So
yeah,
there's a 2 mile handicap next up after that race. Not quite the same level as the Galopin Des Champs of this world, but it does look a good race. I've got one I want to put up, if you don't mind first, Alex. I like Listener Malt Lad, a big price. There's still some bigger prices than it's shown on here around, but the reason I like this horse, it run a fairly good race at Cheltenham, beating a horse called We've All Been Caught, which was with Christian Williams back to Nigel Twiston Davis. That's since gone in and won. I wouldn't say it's a no world beater, but definitely at this level is a good enough horse. That was over 2.5 miles. Comes back in trip here, I believe, which I don't think will pose too much of an issue. And I thought that although he's not run well in the last 2 races, fallen and pulled up, the figures don't suggest there's a win necessarily right round the corner. But he is back down to that mark of 134, which he won off. And Jordan Gainford booked in a handicap, which I think you can probably make a case for a lot of them. I thought he could go well.
yeah. I agree. I actually backed him when he won at that Cheltenham.
Yeah.
I've seen here they've got headgear, tongue strap, cheek pieces. You know,
In the
I think
world on him.
they're throwing a lot at him, and usually, when that's sort of happening,
Yeah.
they're obviously hoping for a run, I guess.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about earlier, I think depending on how Willie Mullins goes, later on in car, a lot of his horses will be getting smashed in, aren't they? So Shambilly Kid, obviously in this one,
Yeah.
could get back. So they obviously got the Richie horse. There's a few in here that they're gonna. I thought Midnight is it?
Yeah.
That
That's
actually
it. Yeah.
ran a really good race.
Yeah.
So Cromwell won. He had first, second, and third. It was quite a valuable race. It was,
Yeah.
and
The,
it
the king of
stayed on him.
PRS, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
won the
that
race.
won it. And Midnight Itis was third, and it came from nowhere and just
Mm.
came into the screen and came third. So that finished really well, I thought, in quite a valuable race.
I backed Paf Daru in that race and finished second.
Did you? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Typical, isn't it? I thought Captain's Nephew maybe have a little each way.
Yeah.
This week carrying no weight, really.
A lot of money already piled in for that, by the way.
Yeah, and I just think it just seems one of those horses that keep an eye on it. I reckon that would be probably half the price by the race. So yeah, something like that would be keeping an eye on. But other than that, obviously my mate Mozzie's the class act in the race, isn't it? But he's carrying top weight, isn't it? So
But
Um,
if he's going to go well, it is going well fresh. I mean, he did finish third in a Galway hurdle, so he's much the classier of this type, isn't he? So
Oh, 100%. But you just have a feeling there's going to be something in there, isn't it? So, yeah, a few each way shouts, but I haven't really got like a nailed on one on this one. This is a tough race.
yeah,
Obviously, it's a big pot. So I
yeah,
wouldn't put it past Cromwell's Midnight It Is, especially the way
okay,
it finished
yeah.
to go on. So 72, probably get 41 on the day. I think that wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, good man. Yeah, good shape. Okay, the final race is the bumper, concluding bumper, has been won by some really nice types over the years, targeted by Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott, all the big trainers over in Ireland have a right stab at this because if they find a good one here, manage to plot one here, the bumper at the festival is next up on the agenda. I had a look through, and I now see that He Can't Dance is the horse that I like. I'm going to put forward as a sort of selection here, but it's been backed quite heavily actually since I last looked. Look, I go out on a little bit of a limb here and say that I don't think I've seen anything from Ireland this season from a bumper perspective that's really blown me away, and nothing that's really sort of made me go wow. Whereas I could probably give you two from England who I've thought that could be very good. One in particular. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a this is going to be a watching race for me, but I definitely think He Can't Dance is the one that I'll have a bet on. What will you sort of side with, and how will you play?
Um, I've actually gone with the other Elliot horse,
Yeah,
Cocktail Brute.
yeah,
Um, I ju- it ran really well first couple of runs, and then it
hmm
was really well backed um, on its last run, but just disappointed.
yeah,
It came fourth. It just sort of the last. It was actually winning, and then it was dropped to second. The last like 100 yards, it dropped to fourth. So yeah, I don't think the placings really sort of show what it probably should have been second. Really,
yeah,
um, I just can't with the how much money that was for that came in for that horse. I just imagine it probably been a lot better than that. And at 10-1, I think it was. I think it was
yeah,
actually a bit bigger,
yeah.
bigger earlier on. It's actually it's gone. You can get eight, tens, eights. So I thought that would be quite a little good shout each way because, like I said, I do agree with you on. I haven't seen too many bump horses really from Ireland. The one that we all know about is the Wind Beneath My Wings, isn't it? Of
Yeah, that's it.
Pipeys, which
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like chatting to some of the jockeys that were riding behind that, and they're on very well fancied horses. They said this thing is an absolute aeroplane. So
yeah.
I'm not sure what the odds are of the Cheltenham Bumper, but yeah, it's going to be a good horse to beat that for me
I
anyway.
think you can still get that horse around about 7 or 8 to 1.
Really?
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
which is good value, isn't it? Okay, so that's Saturday at Leopardstown, the Dublin Racing Festival, day one, and yeah, really good racing. So we'll move now to have a little look at the card at Sandown, which does have some really interesting sort of races there. Uh, I'll go into the 25 past one. Where I thought Venetia's horse, Soul Solution, might be the answer. Run a really good race last time at Hereford on pretty bad ground. Horse is taking a step back in the right direction. Only 114 rated. This horse, I think there's a handicap in him for sure.
Yeah, we just got to be careful with Sandown. It's just with the ground. It's going to be so heavy, isn't it? Because I think
Yeah,
they've only just about got on waterlogged, and we all know Venetia Williams horses go pretty well, don't they? And
yeah,
Hereford, when it's bad, isn't it?
yeah. Oh god, yeah, yeah.
Um, so
Soft is
I think,
heavy, heavy is unraceable, right?
yeah, I've been there a few times. It's a nice little track, to be fair.
Yeah, it's,
So yeah, 4-1, you're looking at pretty good value. Just Lucky Savola of Paul Nichols's actually
yeah,
travelled really well until the last, and then dropped to third, but 3 furlongs less here. I think that could have a chance. Obviously, that was round Ascot, I think it was.
yeah,
Um, so you got to jump around Ascot, and you got to be a pretty good jumper around Sandown, haven't you? So,
yeah, 100%.
and he travelled really well and jumped well. So I think that would run a lot better.
Hmm.
But it's tough to look past Venetia's now, aren't they? They're just finding a bit of form, aren't they? With Long Press A coming in last
Yeah,
week,
yeah,
and so yeah, it's still a pretty good price, isn't it?
yeah, 100%. I like it. I think also the second behind 6 Mile Bridge as well form's been franked there on heavy ground as well. So
Yeah,
listen,
exactly.
it's a horse to sort of have a little few quid on, I think. Okay, so the 2 o'clock sees us sees a race where I think there'll be some interesting types in here, definitely being sort of manoeuvred for maybe festival races themselves. Etalon is a pretty sort of strong favourite at the minute for the Skeltons in the race. I'm going to put forward a horse that's got all sort of digits, sort of letters than numbers in his last 2 runs. Another fallen and pulled up horse I'm going to be talking about, which is Gunsight Ridge. I thought he was going really well at Cheltenham. Was about to come and take Matata at that home straight last time before falling, being pulled up next time. Probably excuses. I'm going to put a line through that. I
You
thought
just fancy Gavin Sheehan, don't you?
I like Gavin Sheehan. He's an absolute top jockey. Yeah, top lad, top jockey, and I think he's capable of getting them home. So yeah, I'm going to say Gunsight Ridge in that one.
Yeah, I haven't got too much to say. I think it's just all on the scouting horse, isn't it? It's probably well, what I've heard is probably pretty well. It's pretty well handicapped, isn't it? Really, and
Yeah, wouldn't
a
surprise
lot
you,
of
would it?
those. No, not at all. Not of a scouting horse. So 9-4 is probably a little bit of value left in that still. I thought Classic Maestro might actually probably outrun its odds because it just loves bottomless ground,
Yeah,
carrying what, zero weight pretty much, isn't it?
yeah, not much at all.
Um,
But
so
Luke Scott's a really good rider as well.
yeah,
I, I
obviously
know him
claiming
and met
a
him a
little bit
few
as well.
times.
So
Yeah,
get out in front and go and just catch me if you can, sort of thing. Maybe I don't know. So and it's running well. It's slowly climbing the
yeah,
handicap, isn't it? And Jenny Candish, she knows how to train them. So um, yeah, I'd have a little each way on that maybe. But other than that, it'd probably be the Skelton one. So not too much of a fancy there, but just something to probably keep an eye out.
yeah, for sure. The Silly Isles is probably the grade one on the card. It's a really nice race. The Silly Isles is a good race. Only 4 runners take to the start here, but it's sort of 4 solid runners, I think, and that makes it sort of half appealing still. Django Bay he's probably got the strongest form in the book in what he's achieved when he won at Cheltenham, albeit that was his novice chase debut. It was a really great performance. I'm not convinced that he's going to want soft or heavy ground this time out, and it, like Alex has pointed out, it's going to be really heavy. Handstands is one I'm really interested in, but I don't want to cram Paul Nicholls' horses at all. But I can't have Caliph de Burley over this sort of trip. I think it seems a little bit of an afterthought, bearing in mind it's probably not as good as the top 2 milers, and I'm not convinced he's going to stay brilliantly. I may be wrong. My selection is handstands. Where do you sort of go with this one, Alex?
Yeah, Django Bay is a nice horse, isn't it? And it's won
Oh,
some
very nice horse.
decent, very nice horse. Obviously, form in the book. Like I said, not sure. I don't think it'll like the ground as much as handstands will. And I know handstands jumps well, won well around Foss last, which was like the ground was just
Yeah,
really, really soft. Jumps well. Ben Paulin loves him. You know about this because obviously you had
yeah,
your stable tour, and
yeah.
he put it in the even if you're just talking it in the same sentence as a horse like the Jukebox Man, it
Mm,
must be a good horse, or you
yeah,
must be showing him something at home. So
yeah,
11-4. Well, I think it's probably bigger or less. I'm not sure. I'd be all over that for
yeah,
me. Four
yeah.
runner race, probably just go out and
Which
and run like
probably
it's the best horse.
which probably at this stage of his career, a 4 runner race probably suits handstands a little bit. I think he does look like he might be one that runs on his nerves a little bit. So but that might be a benefit to him as well. So yeah, I'm sort of half confident in that one. I think handstands is the right horse to be with.
Yeah, and it's. I don't know. I wonder if it would have been running in this if it fell first run. I think that's what Ben Paulin was saying, wasn't he? He might
Mm,
have gone down a different route. When he fell at Wincanton, I think that track just didn't suit him. But yeah, for me, that would be like my next best, I reckon, of the day
yeah.
for me. Is
Yeah.
that what you call it? You have a nap and the next best?
Yeah,
No,
Napa
I
next
don't.
best, I'd say. Yeah, yeah. You got a good point there because yeah, obviously the third run, 144 at the moment. Yeah, let's see where we go with that one after this. Right,
Yeah,
the next race is a handicap hurdle. It's a tiny little race, to be fair, and one that looks on paper, you would probably, based on what you saw from Henry the Second last time, you would be all over Henry the Second. 2 miles, 7.5 furlongs on heavy ground at Sandown, won by probably half the track, as far as he wanted to win by, basically. But I'm just concerned about the form of those Nichols horses. I watched a couple of his run today, and they emptied coming up the home straight at Wincanton again, and I didn't see the last couple of races. We might have had one or two going there, but yeah, just a little bit concerned about. I'm going to take him on with a horse called What a Johnny, who I thought ran a really good race at Cheltenham last time behind Strachan. Ran pretty well, strongly to the line. Again, Ollie Murphy's horses. I think you can really hang your hat on Ollie this season. He's been a really good form trainer, consistently banging in winners. Again, that man Gavin Sheehan, the on board. So I'm gonna have a few quid on What a Johnny.
oh, what a Johnny, nice. I think there's a few in here that could run well. I quite like Rebecca Kurtz's Idefx de Figueres. I think that'll run a
Yeah.
lot better. And I think if it wins and wins well, I think it's got an entry at Cheltenham in one of the handicaps, so that
Okay.
won't be far off. Deep Cove, Christian Williams, that was running a blind. A Deep Cave, sorry, that was running a blind the last time out, and we all know how good Christian is.
Yeah.
That was running really well at Windsor.
Yeah. Was only beaten
Which
two and
is
a half lengths in that race. In
yeah,
fair.
and I against Titan Discovery, which is a very
Mm.
yeah, that was a good run. But for me, I am going to go for the Honeyball horse in Dartmoor Pirate.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah.
I thought it's got good form at Sandown and its novice handicaps. Back end of last year, where it came up in sort of unpromising sort of positions. Chasing hasn't quite worked. Back over hurdles last time and looks like it's on a good mark.
Yeah.
So
Bit of money for that
yeah,
as well.
yeah, a little bit of money. Honeyball, I like Anthony Honeyballs. He has a lot
Yeah.
of really good bumpers in the end. I think this Sam Tristan Davis on it in the drive. Nice little 10-1 winner. Be
Mm.
lovely.
Plowing through that mud. Right, okay. Final race at Sandown, I think, is the final race we're going to talk about. Am I right? Yes, we will talk about the 342. Look, in an indoor, I backed it last time. As a horse that probably should have won that race by about 10 lengths as easy as he wanted to. In the end, it ended up in a little bit of a battle. So David Maxwell, the amateur, you got to commend him for the money he plays into the sport and the way that he does things. If I could choose another jockey, I probably would choose a professional, no disrespect. But even with that in mind, I still think this one's got enough in hand to win.
Yeah, I haven't got too much of a say on this, but I'd have to agree with you. Like you got to give him credit. Really, he's still riding at this age. He's probably, like you said, he's plowed so much money
He's
into the
great for the
sport,
sport.
and he's great. He's great crack at with interviews and stuff. You see him on
Yeah.
telly. He looks great fun. And Venetia, yeah, she could have had one or two by this time. So yeah, she'd be looking at probably a double or at least maybe even a treble, couldn't she, on the day?
Could be.
Um, so I think the horse O'Connell, Gavin Sheehan's on that. Looks like it's getting backed in a little bit, but I think if it runs anything like the same time last that indoor, it'd be tough to beat, wouldn't it? Surely,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
Sandown, and obviously the jump, it's got to jump in it, jump well as well around there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd stick with that. Like it's mad, really, that Shamblu's in that. They
It
used to run
is.
for like 152. That used to be an absolute airplane, didn't it?
Could
But
never. I'll never forgive him for that Charlie Hall at Unsea.
oh
I'm
yeah, I
just
remember that.
heartbreaking, especially when you're on. Anyway, right, we're going to have a little look at Musselburgh, but probably just one or two. I know you want to talk about one in the first, but in particular, um, Lucas Tipple, I think, is the one that you want to talk about, isn't it?
Yep, yep. So if you look at its form, I think it was second behind Saint Luce last time out,
Yeah,
or not. Well, it's not like maybe not last time out, but it's form behind that. So I think it's depending on if that goes really well, 150. I
yeah,
know that's obviously well, in theory, this is running just before it, isn't it? So
Yeah,
that could be quite a good little double. That St. Lucie and this one I just quite fancy. I just thought it's a bit of a trek to go there for it. So they obviously fancy it to go well there. Lucas Tipple, so
yeah.
Sean Quinlan on it. So yeah, that would be. I'm not sure what the odds are now on it, but it was.
Still
I
get a
think
bit
it'll
of
be.
fives, I can see.
Yeah, so I'd be all over that. I think for me,
Okay.
I quite fancy that in
Well,
Musselburgh.
as is there anything else at Musselburgh or anywhere else that you want to highlight before we just talk a little bit about Sunday at Dublin?
Um, I think no, it was just another one at Musselburgh called Celtic Dino.
Oh
I thought
yes,
that
yeah.
would run well. That's been looking for good, better ground. And I watched it train this week actually at Sam Thomas's yard, and he looked good. So yeah, not sure what the odds will be on that, but yeah, just have a look out for that one as well.
Cool, definitely. I will sure to be having a few quid on that one, mate. Right, Sunday's cards. Obviously, the deck's not in yet. We don't know where the jockey bookings are going, but I think it would be. Let's just talk a bit about some of the races. So let's work backwards. So the Irish Champion Hurdle. Obviously, it sees Lossiemouth versus Stateman. I'm not really interested in the others because I don't think they'll feature, and that's no disrespect to them. They're just in against the big boys here. Lossiemouth for you, or are you
Yeah,
going stick with Stateman to bounce back?
no, no, I don't think so. The State Man hasn't looked the same horse as he.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
I think I'd be so surprised if Lost Your Mouth doesn't go and win, especially obviously sort of avoiding Constitution Hill.
Yeah.
If you watch that run back, I know Constitution Hill was first run back for a long time, but she stayed on. She stayed
Mm,
on quite well, didn't she? She
yeah.
didn't like just
Yeah.
drop out, and
No,
obviously,
definitely.
so she's in good form. I just think and I don't think, I just think come Cheltenham, that Cheltenham track will suit Lossy Mouth a little bit more, and I do think that a little bit that it won't be as big as you think. I don't think Constitution Hill and
No,
Lossy Mouth, but
won't
I'm
be
all of
won't be having it all
Constitution
his own way.
Hill. But yeah, Lossy Mouth for me, like I think she'd just probably sit in behind State Man and just at the end just cruise away.
Yeah, agreed. I think Kempton on good ground, let's face it, isn't what she's about. So we'll see a
No,
different
no,
horse tomorrow and in the race at Cheltenham, hopefully. Gaelic Warriors odds-on favourite, which I'll be taking on, ironically, over the weekend. Marine Nationale, really nice horse I loved. I backed it for the Supreme that year. Solness is, no mug himself. Obviously, put them in their place last time, actually, at a huge price as well on the day. Right, so we're going straight into the Dublin Chase, the champion chase there over the 2 mile trip. Gaelic Warrior is a 4-6 favourite. I think he's a bit skinny. Marine Nationale has got a bit to do to sort of step forward. I think there's still a good horse in there somewhere. Solness served it up to both of them last time, but it's one I'm interested in, and this game is all about gambling, and I am taking a gamble on this because Al Fabiolo has to have improved his jumping, and if he hasn't, then I'll know my fate very soon. But I think Al Fabiolo still has the ability to lay it up with some of these, and I don't know what you think, Alex, but look, I think at that price, 8-1, I think he's the player of the race.
yeah, that's a good shout. To be fair, 8-1, that's a mad price, isn't it? That really.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, JJ, well, I guess you'll know how it's going if JJ Slevin is riding it, maybe.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
Obviously, we don't know the jockeys yet, but obviously, Gaelic Warrior 4-6. That's for me. Like I know it won at Cheltenham, didn't it? And it
Mm,
done me because it got beat by Factor Father at Leopardstown, wasn't it? The time before that, and
yeah,
I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with Marine Nationale. I've gone with. I'm going to follow him again. I think Barry Connell's so bullish on this horse, isn't he? And it just
yeah, he loves it, doesn't
hasn't
he?
loves him, and it hasn't quite gone to plan. But it's not that far away. So
Yeah, I agree.
I put him in a bit of a trouble with St. Lucie and Majborough. I think at
Okay,
quite a lot better odds. I think it was like 6-7 to 1. So that's obviously 7-2 now. So yeah, I'm going to stick I'm going to stick with Marine Nationale on this one.
okay.
But
No,
El
I don't.
Fabiolo, good each way bet. That would be eight
What
to
it
one.
won?
Obviously for
Al
horse.
Fabiola won this race last year of 4-11.
Did he really well?
So like, I don't know. I just I can't help but find myself thinking that if it Banks is back to form, he's a massive price. I know Paul Townend's going to choose Gaelic Warrior. JJ Slevin, as we know, is now the double green sort of jockey, and I think he can go pretty well.
Yeah, that's a good shout there.
Okay, where are we? Let's look at. There's another nice novice hurdle I want to have a look at if my screen decides to play with me, which is the Tattersalls Island novice hurdle over 2 miles. It's not a surprise to me to see Copector Boards as favourite, but what I am surprised about is shorter odds for, I think, the 2 mile turners, 2.5 mile turners. And he is actually the Supreme Novices. Yet this is over 2 miles, so it's interesting to see how Willie's playing this. But there's a lot of positive vibes about this horse, isn't there?
Yeah, there's loads. I've heard loads about this thing. This apparently is an absolute aeroplane, isn't it?
Yeah, so they say.
Yeah, I like. I backed it on the 28th when I was over there at Christmas period. Is Cade Da Uthi,
Yes.
Willie Mullins. Literally, I seen it in the paddock. I was like, wow, this looks like Madsborough, another French horse that they picked up.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe the price of it. It was like 5-1, and it just went out for, and it ran a stormer. And I think that'd be a good little. It's going to be. So I'll probably go with that. I'll probably back it again. But
Yeah.
obviously, with the talk around that other Willie Mullins one is nuts. And obviously, you got Redemption Day and a couple of other really good horses. But I quite like that JP horse.
It's quite interesting because
year.
Kate Dothie, who you've just mentioned there, ran over 2.5 miles on the 26th at Boxing Day around Leopardstown. Copector's Boards ran over 2 miles. And they're talking about this one for the Turners. I just, that like, it's real Willie Mullins territory that he's probably just fact finding at the moment himself a little bit, and I think people think that he doesn't do that and he knows exactly what he's doing, but it's definitely a little bit of that going on. I'm sure he's trying to figure out his pecking order really. I've got to mention in this race, I don't know if have you seen how bullish Warren Greatrix is about Good and Clever?
No, is he?
Right.
Well, he sent him over, so
yeah. I mean, fair play.
Chances him.
Yeah, well, fair play to him. I mean, he's not really got the form that you would go, wow, that looks a standout horse. But what he's basically said, he said, if he's there turning for home, he don't think that anything would be finishing stronger in the race than it. So, I mean, I thought that was quite a big shout.
Well, what's it got form behind Potter's Charm, who seems to run into the ground a little bit, but I think we know, obviously, it beat Celtic Dina, who I quite liked, but whether it's top level, but yeah, why not give it a shot? Prize, like some of these horses, they've only run once or twice, isn't it? I think experience wise, that's definitely going to be up there, isn't it? Well, is it nearly £88,000? So got to have a crack, and you're not getting that in UK, are you?
No, not on this day and age, I'm afraid. And then I suppose another one we have to talk about is the novice chase over 2 mile, 5.5 furlongs, where Ballyburn. Look, I think Ballyburn put in an unbelievable performance last time to get anywhere near Sir Gino. Bearing in mind he probably needs a trip. Probably showed without realising it at the time. Most people were just like, "Oh, he's too good for Ballyburn," but actually, Sir Gino's just really quick, and I think Ballyburn has done remarkably well to stay with him, and I think he's going to be a very good horse over this staying trip, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit of a plodder, isn't he? Not a plodder, but you know what I mean. I think
I do.
It needs that. Like I think the way people were talking about him at Cheltenham last year was like he was the next biggest thing, wasn't he? And Willie Mullins said he could run in anything, couldn't he?
Yeah,
but he just didn't show any boot, did he, against Sergino? So I think straight away they've gone, all right, let's get him over a trip. I do think he'd probably. I don't know what price is he at Cheltenham?
I think at the moment he's probably about 11-4, is he? 3-1 maybe for that Brian Advisory.
Brian Advisory. That's looking actually not a bad race, that, is it?
No, it's hotting up. And actually, a lot of the ones that I know people like. I mean, Impere Pass is the second the second in the market here at 11-4 behind Ballyburn. I mean, there's no mug in Perry Pass. Still, will catch most people out. It's still only 7. I really
Wow.
thought he was a little bit older than that. Same age as Ballyburn. So, he's obviously done nothing wrong in what he's done so far. Champ Kiley is no mug. He's put in a lovely performance. His performance at Fairy House really caught my eye last time. I thought that was good. Better days ahead for Gordon Elliott. I mean, that won the Martin Pipe last year.
Yeah.
These are really good animals, and although I think Ballyburn is short, if he goes and beats this field, we might just be looking at something quite special.
Yeah. I think, like you said, of 11-4, that's a pretty good. That might be worth having taken on that, isn't it? I think before the race. I'll
Yeah,
tell you another one. I think that run quite well. I think it's entered. Is Croke Park? Is it?
yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think that'll outrun its odds. It's on the. It ran really well at Christmas time at 3.5 mile as well at Leopardstown. So the distance, and it won at 2 mile 4 as well. So beat Better Days Ahead, who they quite rate, don't they? Obviously, that was well back that day as well, and it pulled 20 plus lengths away from Stella Story, Buddy One, and also like that. So that'd be a good each way play there. But like you said, Ballyburn, I think if it runs anywhere near that form behind Sergino, it'd be tough to beat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. On Stella Story, I mean, he jumped like an absolute pig last time. Like that. But what we are talking about is a horse that won the Albert Bartlett, which is just about as grueling a test as you get at the Cheltenham Festival, to be fair.
Yeah, tough
Over
one that.
3 miles over hurdles on the Friday, where the ground sort of got a little bit more chewed up, a little bit heavier, and that was on heavy ground. I do think that actually that horse, if he could put his jumping together, won't be miles away because he's got the hurdle form in the book. But it's all about one horse for me, and it's all about Ballyburn and what Ballyburn turns up. If we get the majestic one from last season, then I think they'll all be chasing shadows. Personally.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. And then I do quite like Croke Park to pick up the pieces. Obviously, Better Days Ahead as well is going to be thereabouts. That's a really, really good race. I quite like that.
It is a good race.
It's a bit. I just don't. Yes, Prairie Dancer. That's had a good few winners, and that's been going quite well as well, isn't it? Joseph O'Brien. So,
there's no mugs in that field, that's for sure.
No,
is there anything else? Is there anything else on the card at Leopardstown over that on the Sunday that you're looking at already, or that we've not just talked about?
I got sent. Whether I say it or not, I got sent one for the Sunday.
Go on.
It's a horse it's running in the handicap, the O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey one. Is it Hagranka de Fay?
Okay.
I've just got sent it from someone in Ireland he's only sent me 3 or 4 horses, and they've all won. So
yeah,
it's
another Barry Connell horse. So I mean, and again, the tissue price is already gone, so there's some money already come for that one. I think that's great that you've put that out there, and hopefully that goes well, and you're going to get lauded by all of our followers, mate.
Can you imagine? Or I'm going to
get that man back on.
My DM's going to be full of abuse, but
abuse or absolute lauding you up. So, and there's not obviously anything else from. I suppose there's Musselburgh on the Sunday. Is there anything that you want to put in that you've had a look at, or is that just I just look.
What's that?
I was just going to say, I see Celtic Dino is actually running on the Sunday.
Yeah, I think that'll run quite well. I reckon if the ground stays pretty good to soft, I think that'll run quite well.
Good.
It was looking for good ground. So yeah, other than that, no, not. I'll just be enjoying Saturday, and hopefully, St. Lucie does the job for me.
Yeah. Hopefully, mate. Hopefully. And Alex, just tell us a little bit about what you're up to as a whole, mate. I know, obviously, you're a big racing fan, and obviously you got your rugby stuff. You got a podcast as well, mate, haven't you? Is all things going well? Tell us a bit more about it all.
Yeah, obviously got a podcast called Sport in Wales, so obviously
Yeah,
talking quite a lot about Welsh rugby and so forth. So getting a lot of mates around, around the rugby world on and chatting about themselves and what's going on. Obviously a big horse enthusiast. I've got a couple of horses. I actually got one running on Sunday at Garthorpe up in Melton Mowbray.
yeah,
So we've got a 4-year-old running there in a maiden. So that's quite exciting. So looking forward to that.
yeah,
Obviously, then Six Nations kicks off
yeah.
um, against France for Wales, which is going to be tough, isn't it? And England, obviously Ireland. So I'll be watching that after the Dublin Racing Festival. So
And
yeah, I'm
obviously,
looking.
I was just going to say, you're obviously out in Dublin this weekend. It's a great event, the Dublin Racing Festival, isn't it?
Yes, this will be actually. I've heard so much about it, and this is the first time I'm going to do it properly. So
Okay.
I went to Leopardstown in over the Christmas period,
Yeah,
and I was very impressed with the track. It was pretty fair. I felt like a lot of horses that run out in front, look like it seems a bit more of a you've got to be up there with a pace sort of track. But
yeah,
yeah, unbelievable place, and obviously my partner's family, they're big bookmakers, the Mulvanneys and co. So I have to make sure I take the lads on with
yeah.
to gamble with those lots. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. It should be good fun.
Good man, good man. And we love, I obviously love all the stuff that you're doing, mate, in the media and everything like that. And really appreciate you jumping on with us today. And
No
hopefully
worries.
all your selections run well, and we can do this again. I'm sure we'll do it just before the festival, and obviously maybe you'll come to our preview evening. We've had that discussion already, and yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for today, mate, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers, mate. Catch up
Cheers, mate.
soon.
See ya.